Sometimes the most incredible things come from the most unpredictable places. My band had a month-long weekend engagement at an AMVETS club. I had been house band at that place years before, even doing it for a solid year of my life. There were in fact 2-year-long stints as house band there. It had been my income during those times, allowing my weeknights to be free for music industry shows in Nashville and other gigs that might provide low pay. There was a studio nearby owned by Jerry J.I. Allison, famed drummer of the Crickets. Musicians and artists who were recording at his studio would drop by the club for a cold beer, and in this rural area of Tennessee, the most unlikely of folks would emerge in the crowd. While I performed there from 9 o'clock p.m. until 2:30 a.m., Friday and Saturday nights, in might walk Tiny Tim. Another time, Jumpin' Gene Simmons of rockabilly hit Haunted House came in and sat in with us. We did his hit, plus funny how time slips away. On our break, Gene proceeded to tell me how there was a birth record of Elvis Presley's twin in Tupelo, Mississippi, but no death certificate. Simmons was from Tupelo, like Elvis and Jesse Presley, and had been close to the rock sensation. He claimed that Southern families would hide children with deformities, maintaining a secrecy from the community that showed no sign that child existed. Long story short, the death of Elvis at age 42 was really the death of twin Jesse, and Elvis used it as a getaway. Simmons went on to claim that he had personally checked for the records and that the death certificate did not exist. My head was spinning from the 15 minutes of learning that, then on to another set of rock songs at this AMVETS club. The Kingsmen guitarist who played on Louie Louie came in one night and sat in with us. Here we were, back at this club for weeks with small turnout. The conditions had changed. Years before, the room would get packed at 10 past midnight. That was because all the other nightclubs within 50 miles closed at 12 a.m. The AMVETS was a private club and could stay open until 3 a.m. You had to be a member or signed in by a member to come inside. Our audience would be less than 10 folks until the unleashing of all the hooligans at 12:10. From that point until 2:30, we rocked hard, and the place was a madhouse. It was a world unto itself. However, now the laws had changed, allowing the other joints to stay open later. The monopoly on bar hoppers past midnight ended for the AMVETS Club. The new situation was playing for less than 10 or 12 people all the way until 2:30. Not much joy or money in that. Why don't you ever let Bobo sing with y'all? It was a waitress talking to me. Again, why can't Bobo sing? Every band lets him sing a song, she told me. We did not know Bobo sang. We had certainly got to know him, though. He was in the autism spectrum. When our trio took a break and sat at a table in the near-empty room, Bobo would join us. He would spend our break talking to us non-stop. He would never look us in the face, always looking away. Bobo was about 25 or 30 years of age, quite obese, and seemed to be a human encyclopedia. He could rattle off sports stats and much more. He would bring up a song we played and tell us the date it was recorded, the producer, the studio, etc. It got our attention after a few times of that following quite obscure tunes. When he told his jokes, despite our already having heard him tell them, he would look away during the punchline and not laugh. His question of, "What's green and sings?" would have no lag before Bobo answered for himself, "Elvis Parsley." Those kept coming during every break, and the time spent on stage was difficult, as we knew the money was slight and the vibe in the room was like a graveyard. What did we have to lose? How about we let Bobo sing one? The bassist sang lots of songs, and I sang even more. The one thing we hated was to be forced into those overly tired bar band covers. Margaritaville, Mustang Sally, Brown-Eyed Girl, etc. When Bobo took the microphone in hand and called off Wild Thing, we knew it was one of those. In the unfortunate times of having to play that song, I would do it, then the next time around, the bassist would sing it. It got passed back and forth between us in our attempt to be team players. It was considered a nice gesture for one of us to take it on and sing it, allowing the other a respite. We took off with the song, playing the basic 3-chord progression and straight rock groove. Then the unthinkable happened. Bobo started screaming out Wild Thing in a marvelous, soulful rock voice. He was spot on with his pitch, and his mannerisms were highly skilled. It sounded like a blend of Steve Perry of Journey and Brian Johnson of AC/DC. It could not have been any better than how the guy was singing it. It was world-class rock vocalizing, and we were playing the song with all the blood drained from our faces. At the end of the 3 minutes of perfection from Bobo, there was silence from our trio. He left the stage, and we remained transfixed for about 25 seconds. Then the two singers in the band looked right at one another and said in unison, "I ain't ever singing Wild Thing again." It is possible I have done it since, but I will never get that out of my brain. Simply put, no one on the face of the earth, be it at an AmVets club or an opera house, will ever nail Wild Thing like Bobo did. Forget about it. I don't care who you are not matching him.